Hello and welcome back to the podcast. I'm Joe and I am alone currently. Parker is doing some work on his clothing enterprise production corporation thing right now. And I'm going to try and do this solo. You know what I mean? I'm going to try. I've been listening to myself lately and I feel like I need to be more like him on these podcasts. I feel like he's the more liked one just because I tend to get off of the rail. I scream a lot. I noticed that I edit these and when I see the sound waves for my particular set of microphone, it's just wonky. And so, you got to be like the greats. He's not that great. I mean, he pisses me off sometimes, but I deal with it. You know what I mean? I could definitely. I can't do this. I'm just kidding. He's here, but limited time only.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm just doing some screen printing. You know the vibes.
Yeah, you know the vibes.
The vibes.
The vibes. He's doing screen printing because Parker is starting his own thing
Yeah.
with shirts and other materials. But I'm trying to be very vague because you don't need to know right now, but you do need to know.
You'll see in due time.
Yeah, I don't know what you just said. I got headphones on for the first time. Yeah, he's mixing paints and whatnot. So this is the first live in the action podcast. If you hear gloopy noises in the background, that would be his paint or whatever emulsifier thing he's calling it.
Emulsion.
Yeah, emulsion. And he's got this 7,000 watt light bulb over here. It's not enough that it's 101% humidity outside and it's like 97 degrees because we got shirts to print, fam.
Yes, sir.
Anyway, hopefully the background noises don't distort the podcast too much. Listen, the Bears are moving. My childhood, I like the footballs sometimes. And other than just watching the Super Bowl, just because that's the most exciting game of the year, I do keep track of the Bears. I'm a fan. For the whole time they've sucked, which has been most of my life, except in like 2005 or something, 2006, when they got into the Super Bowl. They sneak their way into the playoffs, and it's like, all right, you know how it is. Every year is the year for Bears fans. I
Go
guess,
Bears.
yeah, that's right. Go Bears. I guess the Soldier Field, as iconic as it is, I was surprised to learn that it is the smallest stadium in the NFL. I didn't know that. It can only
Really?
sit. Yeah, it can only sit, whatever.
60,000.
See, like 65,000 people, and the minimum for a Super Bowl hosting, I guess, is 70,000, which would be hard. So that eliminates it for any Super Bowl. And they want to move to Arlington Heights. They put a bid in for this Arlington race course, and there's a problem already arising with maybe it doesn't have, I don't know if it's acreage for the parking lot and all the hotels and everything that you need for it. It would kind of screw over Bears fans because it would take like an hour to get there from the city. And from what I was reading, the roads aren't the best either. There's like a 4-lane drive to get there. It would just be they would have to renovate all of it.
That sounds like you ever been to Six Flags Great America? Trying to get out there after the park closes is absolute ass. There's just people driving everywhere. It's not a good sight.
Exactly. I think it would be trash. But maybe they'll renovate the entire street. Why not? If they can buy the block, if that's even
Well,
possible.
I bet the Bears going there is going to bring in a lot of revenue for them too. They'll be like, well, let's cater to the Bears now.
The other problem is the other 3 teams in our division, I believe, the Vikings, the Lions, and the Packers. No, the Packers don't. The Vikings and the Lions have domes. So that allows them to host a Super Bowl because the cold weather would screw up. I mean, they don't usually do Super Bowls in cold weather. I know that I was reading they did one in New Jersey, but the average high in February in Chicago is like 35 degrees. Plus the weather from the lake and unpredictable snow. It's kind of, I thought, at least maybe it could just be me, but I thought that was like an appeal of not having a dome in Chicago because the teams that come to play have to deal with the weather. Whereas like
Oh,
the home team is
true.
conditioned for the kind of like a Colorado, like the Broncos type thing.
It's physical home advantage.
Yeah, plus it was always thought of it's like a machismo thing, you know? Hey, we fucking playing in the snow. We don't need a dome, you bitch. You know? Now we're gonna maybe get domed, but I don't think I don't know. I don't know if they'll move. It's just a
Well,
bid that they put in, but I mean, teams in Chicago have been pump faking a move forever.
do you think they might do one of the retractable domes? I don't know what stadium has that, but you know what
I
I'm talking
think
about.
I think Dallas has
Oh,
that, don't they?
yeah, I think
Something
so.
like that. Yeah, that would be nice because football is awesome, and if they get more fans in there, that means more money from ticket sales.
Bro, how many more fucking fans can football get though? You know what I'm saying?
Hey man, it can go worldwide. I heard that didn't the UFC get more followers on Instagram than the NFL or something like that? Let me check if that's true.
I would believe that. I feel like the UFC has younger fans, so more Instagram users because now even fucking people's dads have Instagrams and like they're like 50, you know. Meanwhile, a lot of Bears fans, or not Bears, but football fans are like 60 to however old because it's been forever. So
Yeah, I think the UFC is also it'll go national, whereas football outside the United States and kind of like Canada, I guess I don't know how big it is, but I don't know why it doesn't kind of pop off in different areas. Maybe because of the equipment needed, whereas like soccer, you just need a ball. There's literally no
that's
equipment,
definitely probably has a play in it.
and that's probably why basketball is getting so international because you just need a hoop or a rim. You don't even need a net. You just need a rim, a circle that's up high, and you need a ball.
A circle that's up
You could
high.
use a soccer ball, matter of fact. You could double it up and try. So no matter where you are, you just got to get your hands on a ball, and those two things are the easiest to play. So I understand that's probably why but hockey's worldwide too. So I don't know.
Is it?
Well, they have them. It's in the Olympics and everything. Yeah.
Oh well,
Russia has hockey. There was that whole thing in the '80s about that movie. I mean, Canada, obviously. But yeah, every country has hockey. So it's just sports that are some are just I don't know. I guess there's rugby, which is like padless football. I do not understand the rules of rugby, and I want to. I need to
Wait,
look into that because
every
that's intense.
every country has what call it, hockey. Okay, yeah. Okay. I guess so.
So I mean, there's yeah.
I mean, I guess if there's.
They have ice and they have steel. They skate, bro.
I like how hockey logos they look always so cool. I like how they look.
Word up. Anyway, speaking of the new stadium, maybe we could host a TikTok, the new fights there, huh? Did you see that, man? Austin McBroom didn't knock out. Austin McBroom
Swept the floor with Bryce Hall.
All right, man. Before we get crazy, let's
No,
remember.
you get the pun, Broom, McBroom.
Yeah, I get it.
Sorry, no offense.
Yeah, swept the hall. Bryce Hall. Let's remember that these guys are older than us and also more physically jacked.
How old is Bryce Hall?
Huh?
How old is Bryce Hall?
He is 20. He is 21. August of 99.
Okay.
Yes. So they have age, which is more life experience. That's more time breathing. So right there, they got cardio on us. And also, they're jacked, dude. But this Austin McBroom guy is like 30 years old. So you know what? They squashed their beef if there even was a beef. You got to give dudes respect anytime you fight in front of a big crowd. And it was boxing. See, Bryce Hall, it seems, I was looking at that fight, and it seems like every time he would get lit up, and then he would clinch. He would go in for the clinch, and then he'd get separated. So who knows? In a street fight, he might have taken him down and got some jiu-jitsu going.
And in his defense, he did say that he was like a street fighter. So
yeah, he said he's been in around 40 street fights in his illustrious street fighting career. Yeah, so that's a lot of fights. That's like 2 a year right there since birth. I mean, he's probably fucking up people in the baby. Is that ICU? The baby intensive care thing?
The baby ward.
The baby ward. Yeah, not the ICU. Whatever.
Well, I think it'd probably be baby wing nowadays.
Yeah, it's all in good fun. I would love to. I don't know why, but I don't feel the same way about TikTokers that I feel about YouTubers. You know, like TikTokers are 10 times more cringy than YouTubers, but I just feel like I like them. I don't know why. It just seems like they're not as.
You know what it's like. Is YouTube? We grew up with YouTube. That's our like not even like kind of our older brother, but by like 3 months, you know. And then TikTok is like our little brother that we're watching grow up. So it's like I love that little kid, but he's still fucking annoying.
Yeah, whereas YouTube's like, all right, fuck off.
Exactly.
Because YouTube's it's just I don't know.
They started the whole.
And they don't change anything. No one like revolutionizes vlogging or anything. Everybody does the same damn thing. It's like okay.
Well, if we're talking about just the like YouTube, the platform itself, they don't renovate anything either. I downloaded TikTok. I'm gonna be honest, and I open it.
Easy.
Well, no, I open it like once every 3 months, and there's like different features every time I open it. I'm like, oh, okay, so they're updating
YouTube's the
that
king,
shit.
though. You can't deny that.
It's because they're almost like big media because they're partnering with everybody. They got ABC, NBC, fucking whatever new or ads showing up on before videos and stuff. So it's like they're kind of starting to share because also if you look. All the news channels, a lot of the big media have fucking YouTube channels too. So they definitely invest in that shit. So they're boosting that shit up.
Well, that could be the case. The money coming in from that and stuff to run the ads. And also there's just so many people on it that no one posts anything else. But it's also such an easy interface. Like you don't have to log in to do it. The only annoying thing I've ever come into YouTube is when you're not logged in and you want to watch a video that's age restricted. Like it's just a rap video or something. Then it's like, all right, you got to do your login.
Also, when it's like, want YouTube TV, like every time I try and close the app.
Yeah, sometimes their ads get intense. You could tell when YouTube's struggling for a month because they'll do those double. You could tell when YouTube, like, I know I joke about it because it's like a mega corporation, but it's funny to think that YouTube is just like one dude. And he's like, shit, I need some money, double at him, you know what
Well,
I
I mean,
mean?
if you, cause I think it's when it's double ads, it's the person.
Double ads take longer than a 15-second because the load time in between always lags. So you get like 2 seconds in between them. It's just like you're not fooling anybody. You're just doing 2 ads with more than 15 seconds. Or they'll lag the countdown to skip. It's like you guys dirty. But I want to listen to that good music, so I'll keep it up.
I like that. I like the. I don't know if it was a meme or whatever, but when ads are always so clear and load so quickly versus the actual video.
Yeah, when ads buffer, I suffer.
Yeah,
when
well,
it's really
that's
bad.
something too.
That's
when ads
it's really
buffer.
bad. That's when it's not that's when your Wi-Fi's fucked.
Yeah,
Storms are coming.
Oof.
Speaking of which,
storms.
it was flexing outside. There was rain spurts and it was thundering and nothing. Speaking of rain, dude, I was looking at deserts because I was just like, what goes on with this? For some reason, we all have this idea in mind that deserts are all sandy and hot. When in reality, you could have a polar desert. It just means not a lot of rain, I guess.
Yeah, the rain deserted it.
We just play on with the swept the Bryce Hall, broom hall. We're good on this one.
That's a solid joke.
Yeah, it's the fumes from your emulsifier.
Yeah, bro, it's got me tweaking.
Anyway, I was looking at this thing called a rain shadow because I was thinking, for some reason, I don't know what I was watching. I think I was watching a Great Wall of China video or some shit, and they were going off of the section of it that was still in the Gobi Desert or whatever. And you know how rabbit holes go. So I started looking into that desert and the mountains over there in Mongolia and everything. And there's a thing that's called a rain shadow, which I thought was kind of cool. There's a windward side of a mountain. So that's like the sea level side of the mountain.
Receiving the wind?
Yeah, it receives the wind and sea level. The wind takes this water, I guess, like warm, moist air rises by this thing called orographic lifting to the top of a mountain range. And when the pressure in the atmosphere decreases because you get higher in altitude, the air expands and is cooled. I don't know what any of that means. So then the air ascends to the leeward side of the mountains. It has lost much of its moisture and creates an arid region. So what happens is there's a mountain, right? And on one side of it, there's ocean, sea level, you have the water and everything. The wind carries the cloud of rain up the mountain, and one side of the mountain is all green and rained on. The other side of the mountain is completely dry. If you look up a rain shadow, there's a picture on there's a Tibetan plateau picture, which shows rainfalls from the southern Asian monsoon that don't make it past the Himalayas. And you can literally see one side of the mountain is all green and weathered, and the other side is just like a desert, I guess.
So it's big heavy cloud can't make it past mountain because heavy and can't like mountain big heavy cloud can't lift.
So you get a rain shadow and you get a leeward side of the mountain is dry as fuck. That's just usually there's some places like that doesn't necessarily make it a desert, but desert is just a land that is very dry because it receives low amounts of rain. So it's hazardous for plants and people, so it's like a really harsh environment.
It's just a really salty area.
There's also semi-deserts, but I mean, the biggest deserts in the world, half of them are polar. So you got the Antarctic desert and the Arctic desert. You don't count those, but then it's like the Sahara desert, the Arabian desert, which the Sahara's in Africa.
So a desert is just a describing word.
It's just a place that doesn't get a lot of rain. That's like has not a lot of animal or plant life. You have the ones that everybody know. I mean, you have the Sahara Desert in Africa, the Arabian Desert in the Middle East. Then you have the Gobi Desert in Asia. That's the one I was talking about with like Mongolia and southern Mongolia and China. Then there's the Patagonian Desert, which I forget about this one, but it's a desert, not just a brand. It's in South America. The Great Victoria Desert in Australia, the Kalahari Desert in Africa, the Great Basin Desert in North America, and the Syrian Desert in the Middle East. Great Basin for North America.
Is that like Nevada in that area?
Yeah, the Great Basin is kind of most of Nevada and then a bit of western Utah, a little bit of chunk of southeastern Idaho, and then you get a little bit of it in Oregon, but not enough.
What about Arizona?
I think it's because of the Sierra Nevada mountain range.
That's the mountain big.
Huh. Because then you have the Mojave Desert, which is Vegas out there. Wait, what is the Mojave Desert then? Mojave Desert. Oh, Joshua Tree's in the Mohab Desert, dude. It's the same thing. Wait, are there two back-to-back deserts? Oh, yeah, there's 3 stacked. Dude, how do we not know this? Man, there's the Great Basin, there's the Mojave, and then there's the Sonoran Desert down.
Oh, the Sonoran, yeah, that's in fucking New Mexico and shit.
Well, guess what? The Sonoran Desert, that's Phoenix.
Oh yeah, and so that's okay. I guess it makes sense now that we think about it, but we always learned more about the mountain ranges and shit.
Dude, I did not even see that. Okay, so the Great Basin, look at this picture. If you're not, so we're seeing a picture of the southwestern United States, and it shows most of Nevada in blue and half of most of Utah, and the bottoms, well, the southeastern corner of Oregon and a good chunk of the bottom of Idaho are all blue, and that's the Great Basin Desert. Then the very bottom part where Vegas is, there's a small green area, and that's the Mojave Desert. Then underneath that is like southeastern California, that area, and then pretty much the bottom of Arizona, which includes Phoenix.
Bro, if you look on a map of where like the Great Basin Desert is in California, it's all just fucking preservations and shit, like forest preserves. Literally, like, dude, these are scary as hell. There's Death Valley National Park that has Funeral Mountains Wilderness, Resting Spring Range, Ibex Wilderness. That'd be kind of cool. I bet that has a bunch of those ibex in it. But then there's like Pahrump Valley, and then Mojave National Preserve. Nobody wants to live there in fucking California. But then Vegas is like, fuck it.
Well, there's a whole water problem with Arizona, Vegas, LA had it. I mean, all those people have in the middle of that's right. They have the Hoover Dam.
Yep.
Which that was intense. Just throwing people, just fuck Steve, throw him in the. I don't even know if actual people are buried there, but did we mention that? That how the first guy to die and was the father of the last guy to die?
Oh yeah, I heard that.
In the construction of the Hoover Dam. So it's like a family event thing here. It's taking out people.
Coincidences, bro.
Bro, I've not been to the Hoover Dam, you?
Neither have I.
I think there's a border on it, right? Nevada-Arizona border.
Think so.
What are we in? Is this the Great Plains? Where it's just nothing? Plains?
Yeah, there's a border on the Hoover Dam.
Not even. We're not even Great Plains. We're just nothing. I don't know what the fuck this is.
Tornado Valley, baby.
I think it's Alley.
Yeah, you right.
Okay. You ever seen that movie Flight of the Phoenix? The original one?
No.
That was a good movie. You know Jimmy Stewart. Jimmy Stewart's the guy. It's a Wonderful Life. Everybody's seen that movie, right? Come on.
Yeah.
Not everybody, but a good chunk of the populace. Anyway, Flight of the Phoenix, all right? So Jimmy Stewart, he's the Wonderful Life. He's the guy.
Yeah.
A movie where he's flying. I'm not going to spoil too much of it, but it's an old-ass movie. So there's this guy, though. He's cool. The German guy, fucking Mr. Dorfman. And in the movie, they're flying from Africa to another spot in Africa, and there's a bunch of people on this plane for different reasons, and they crash. And because I think of a dust storm, but they're stranded in the desert, and they use their airplane to build this other one, the flight or the Phoenix, and they fly themselves out of this desert on this built aircraft. But Jimmy Stewart's like this seasoned pilot, and then the Dorfman guy, who his name is something Kruger, I forgot. He is this model airplane engineer or designer, and that's a spoiler alert. Fuck, because they don't know that, so they're taking his plans because he's like, I think we can build this airplane into a flyable airplane. I think I could design something out of this. And they're like, okay, we'll give it a shot. And then they find out that he designs model airplanes. And he's like, they are model aeroplanes. And he's like telling them it's the same, but they're like laughing hysterically, and it's a whole thing. But eventually, another spoiler alert, it works and they get out. Anyway, good movie, but I was just thinking about that. I think I would rather, there's another movie, The Edge, with Anthony Hopkins, which I've talked about that. You got to see that, dude. Their plane crashes when they're like in Alaska or something. And then it's Alec Baldwin and Anthony Hopkins. And I think that's it for a minute. But they're in that movie, which is another survival movie. And I think I would rather deal with the Alaskan wilderness than the desert. They have to kill a bear. But in the desert, that would be great. Because at least you have some food then. You know, some meat.
Yeah, you either die there or have food for a while.
Yeah, you can try and walk out, you know?
You definitely got an old soul, buddy.
I do have an old soul, or I just have an affinity for good movies.
Old soul.
I don't know what you just said, and I'll maybe put it at the start, too.
Do it.
That's copyrighted already, bro. You can't steal Nike stuff.
No, theirs is just do it.
Oh, you just stole it.
Just don't do it.
Right, exactly. The problem now is you're sending the wrong message, bruh. Peace.
Jose.